Caitlin Clark waved the white flag and she surrendered. They done massacred Caitlin Clark. The one thing in sports that brought me genuine joy.
Indiana Fever superstar Caitlin Clark has been named Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year. Clark becomes the first WNBA player to ever win this award.
Caitlin Clark has been named Time Magazine Athlete of the Year, and a lot of people have a lot of opinions, especially on what she said on the article in regards of privilege.
I don't think I'm surprised. I'm curious to know who the other candidates were, but the fact that that's the very first WNBA player to ever win Time Magazine Athlete of the Year is pretty special. And
I think the other candidate was Shawnee Tony, whatever, for the baseball player. I think that was the other candidate. She don't look too fun, you know, because why is she asking about the other candidates, you know? Just for the debate sake of things, I guess, yeah, you will want to know who was the, you know, nominees. By her being the first WNBA player to be on the cover, that's a big achievement. People should just congratulate and move on.
And my question is, like the criteria, is it based off of her performance on the court, which, yeah, she had a great year, or is it more about the impact that she had on the game this season?
I think it's both. Her impact on the whole WNBA and culture, and her play on the court. But Cheryl, she funny though. She like the Skip Bayless to LeBron James to Caitlin Clark, if that makes sense.
It's great, not just for her, I think it's great for the league.
Yeah.
Right? Like everybody talked about the recognition that she brought to the W this season. So for her to be Time Magazine Athlete of the Year, I think it's really great for the league.
So in this article, Caitlin Clark acknowledges her privilege and speaks on black women building up the WNBA. I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege, says Caitlin Clark. A lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been black players. This league is kind of being built on them. The more we can appreciate that, highlight that, talk about that, and then continue to have brands and companies invest in those players that have made this league incredible, I think it's very important. I have to continue to try to change that. The more we can elevate black women, that's going to be a beautiful thing. It's going to be a beautiful thing, bro. Any unity, people coming together, you know, it's always a good thing. It's always a good thing. It's the motivation behind that. At this point, I feel like the higher ups got to her, because Caitlin Clark strikes me as a person that she don't want to be in this drama. She don't want to have to talk about the certain things. She just want to mind her business, hoop, and just do her.
Her exposure and experience is going to Iowa, and then she went to a team full of lesbians. So I think...
Bruh, come on, man.
So I think that she's getting encouraged or seeing it from a perspective from black people, and not really black people who are willing to tell her the truth. Let me just give y'all some info real quick. This is what happens to white people that don't know black conservative people, is that white people that never lived around black people don't understand what black people actually go through. So when they have their first exposure to black people who are saying, we're discriminated against, they hate us, they shoot us for no reason. I don't have no real opportunities in America. See? And then the white people who never experienced of being around black people, they don't have anything else to go off of. So they believe them. But I'm here to tell you, as the Negro whisperer, that these people are lying. I've been black my whole life. I've had multiple different experiences. I grew up in the inner city. I grew up in the middle class America. And then as an adult, obviously, I've been lived in all spectrums of America. Man, black people ain't got it bad in America like that.
The media kind of magnify it to make it seem worse than it is, you know. But it is that though. Her hearing one side of the story and not from everybody else, of course you're gonna get influenced. You guys see the WNBA demographic, you know, LGBT kind of like, so, you know, she's gonna get influenced to that side, bro. So it's a given.
And discriminated against? The WNBA been paying these black women well, and they trash. They get subsidized by the NBA and they paying them well. Well, you think the NBA is racist? Who are the top paid players in the NBA? Black people. Who are the top paid players in United States track team? Black people. NBA, MLB. Well, MLB got the Dominicans and stuff. They look black, but they actually mixed. They speak Spanish.
I read the entire article, and when I was done, I nearly cried. I'm not joking. I nearly cried. And it now that I will add this little bit of joke or humor to it, but I immediately thought of the scene in The Godfather. Look how they massacred my boy. and that's when I read the Time article. I was like, the one thing in sports where I watched and all the cares left my mind, and all I could think about is, man, I love this little girl. I love what she represents, and they've destroyed it.
They got to her, man.
They've destroyed it.
They finally got to her. She tried to mind her business, but the community is too strong. The higher ups, they got to her. Caitlin Luther King had to come in for the rescue. There's unity now. We are together, blacks, white, privilege, and all. We stand here together now. Caitlin Clark has brought us together. The joy should not go away. You should be even more joyful now. That we stand here strong together now. Caitlin Clark has spoke out.
I just loved Caitlin Clark, and they've massacred her. The woke Negro Basketball Association. Those angry black lesbians that hated her. I love watching her slay them. Loved it. The WNBA is a feminist, woke stronghold. Perhaps the strongest stronghold of all the strongholds that the satanic left hold. And so we take this little small town girl from Iowa that starred at the University of Iowa, and we drop her behind enemy lines, the WNBA. And so I knew, and I wrote at the very beginning, I was like, hey, what Caitlin Clark is gonna face is gonna be more difficult than what Jackie Robinson faced going into Major League Baseball in 1947. And people thought I was crazy. And I said, hey, look, Jackie Robinson faced legitimate death threats. But in every other way, what Caitlin Clark is going to face going into the WNBA is going to be substantially more difficult than what Jackie Robinson faced. And look where we are 6, 7, 8 months later. Caitlin Clark waved the white flag, and she surrendered.
I can't believe her parents and her agent agreed to the terms of this article. It's really sad. She basically discredited her own hard work and God-given talent and said it was her privilege that propelled her, shaking my head. Her saying the white privilege thing kind of takes away from her hard work and what she has brought to the game, you know? It kind of like diminish what she has done. Hold the brakes. We know how the woke media works. Allow her to explain her words before we dump her. Yeah, you know, you gotta let her explain herself, maybe, you know what I'm saying? You gotta let her explain herself. He said she's going to win the MVP and the title next season because of this article, and Nike will have her shoes ready, placed. You know, that's another thing too. Some of these brands, you know, they cater to those communities, you know, so like you kind of have to play ball to get the sponsorships and all that. You know, it's basically like selling your soul in a sense, kind of giving up on your beliefs kind of thing. We don't know what she believes in or whatever. Maybe this is how she really feels. To me, she just strikes me as a person that just minds her business and just want to play basketball. This is what the Shade Room comments are saying. People are saying fire. We love me some Caitlin. She's so mature, classy for a 22-year-old. You know, Shade Room loving it. She's absolutely correct. I'm glad she finally put her racist fans in place. She's a great player. However, it's sad she had to even say this for the league to even realize this. She was better off just minding her business, staying quiet. But in this society, when you got that big of a platform, you can't stay quiet. You kind of have to address these situations. You don't have to. You can choose the Kyrie Irving route and just mind your business. You know, just play basketball, the Kawhi Leonard route. But it's hard. You gotta be mentally strong. And I feel like she's young, white girl she went to Iowa. Like, it's hard for her to come on this league where you got all this, you know, things going on in the WNBA, different cultures, different, you know, gender preferences and all that. So it gets real sticky. So in the comment, do you think she sold out to her fans and her own credibility?
Plug.